thing up in a second.
Okay. I'm gonna mute you until you hop in. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, and all you lovely freaks out there, how you doing? It is a beautiful day out today in Kansas City. We have a good old 6/2/2022. I don't know what the 6 stands for on that calendar date. Anarcho Josh, can you cue me in? What month is it?
It's Pride Month. It's also June? May? I don't know. It's hard to keep track of time these days.
I think it's June.
Yeah,
so
that's right. June.
We have June 2nd, 2022. We are nearly halfway through the year, which I can't believe how quick this year is running. It's going a lot quicker than the year before because we're able to leave our homes. We've got Patrick and Waito in the chat. Happy for y'all to be in there. We also would appreciate it if you haven't. Go ahead and subscribe, comment, and like the video. If you didn't like the video, then it's not my fault. It's Anarcho Josh's fault.
Sure.
So today we have a special guest, and they're going to be reading off the Today in History. And his name is Randi from Africa. Randi, are you there?
I am here.
Randi, what happened in Today in History?
On this day in 1953, Queen Elizabeth II, at 27 years old, is crowned Queen of England. She rules to this day. In 1946, Italy passes a referendum that changes its monarchy for republic, and Frances Folsom married Grover Cleveland and thereby became the youngest First Lady in U.S. history at only 21.
There you had it. And if you're wondering, is he British? Is he Irish? Is he African? He is just a mixture. What exactly? I've never even asked you this question. What is your heritage?
I'm a Boer. All of my nation's people are of European origin. Most are from Holland and Germany. My ancestry is mostly Dutch and German.
Dutch and German. I have a little bit of Dutch in me. Anarcho Josh, what are you?
I don't know. I still have yet to take a genealogy test. I think I'm a quarter Native American, but that's only what I've been told. No confirmed facts yet.
You actually look like you have a little bit of Jew in you.
I'm just a white guy. Just the average, everyday, normal-looking white guy.
You've got ginger in your beard.
Well, yeah, there's that. So maybe I'm like a little bit Scottish, who knows?
We could be actually related.
That would be a nightmare, but, whatever.
Yeah, well, I think I would enjoy being related to you.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, because then, I would have a little bit more. I'd feel as though I was like the older brother.
Oh, I'm older than you.
No, you're not.
How old are you, Sam?
I'm 30.
Oh, well, my mistake.
So we have Anarcho Josh. By his name, it is very clear and evident that he is a anarchist communist, and which means that he believes two things can be one.
Well, the end goal of communism is essentially anarchism, so it's kind of redundant, honestly, to call myself an anarcho-communist, but it's got the edginess to it, and I like it.
So instead of that, we'll just call you a communist for today.
Sure.
We are going to be having a and did I tell you about this? Were you prepared?
That what?
I mean, it's not. I don't think it's gonna turn into any kind of debate. Like, both of y'all are pretty chill dudes when you want to be. But we're just gonna have a conversation about communism.
Oh boy.
But first, I want to what's your feelings towards Pride Month?
Well, it's great.
The assless chaps in front of the kids.
Yeah, sure.
You for that?
Oh my God. Yeah, let's go ahead and keep pushing the narrative that, oh my God, they're corrupting children, which isn't true, but okay.
Well, I listened to an advertisement driving here, and it said it said that all kids are welcome to the Pride Festival, and from what I've seen at the Pride Festivals is that they get a little bit raunchy. So I don't know. I just thought I'd ask.
I'm sure in some dark corners in some bars, maybe. I doubt that there's, dudes helicoptering their wing in front of children on the streets, or whatever you think that gay people do.
It's not that the things that I think gay people do, it's what they said. I mean, have you seen the video of "Will convert your children"?
You mean that one video where that one person said that one thing that you're trying to conflate into the entirety of the gay culture here in America?
No, I'm talking about the men's choir out of San Francisco.
No, I have no idea what the hell you're talking about.
Really?
Yeah.
Can we play it?
If you so desire, Sam.
I think all I have to do is put in one chord. Randy, have you heard from Africa? Randy from Africa, have you heard this song, "Will Convert Your Children"?
Yes, I've seen it. It's deeply disturbing, made more so by the fact that that's a very, very mainstream organization. It's not like it's some guy saying it in a corner. It's a large organization that's widely supported.
What's the organization?
I believe it's the San Francisco Gay Men's Chorus.
Well, they're not that large. I haven't heard of them, but...
All right, well, we got it right here. I don't...
Are you sure they're not just mocking you and people who say that gay people are corrupting children? Are you sure that's not it?
No, because I think 5 of them came up to... They were child sex offenders. Pedophiles.
Oh.
Which I'm afraid to actually say that word, which is kind of strange.
I'd like that to be substantiated by evidence. I'd hate to be that guy to tell you to cite your sources, but I'm not going to believe that until you cite your sources.
Okay. Well, I might just be able to do that.
Send some links in the chat.
Yeah, let's first play this video. I have it here. All I need to do is put it there, and then we can watch it and listen to it. So here we go.
We have a message for you. You think we're sinful? You fight against our rights. You say we all lead lives you can't respect. But you're just frightened. You think that we'll corrupt your kids if our agenda goes unchecked. Funny, just this once, you're correct. We'll convert your children. Happens bit by bit, quietly and subtly, and you will barely notice it. You can keep them from disco, warn about San Francisco, make him wear pleated pants, we don't care. We'll convert your children. We'll make them tolerant and fair.
At first I didn't get why you'd be so scared of us turning your children into accepting, caring people, but I see now why you'd have a problem with that.
Just like you worried, they'll change their group of friends. You won't approve of where they go at night to protest. Oh, and you'll be disgusted when they start finding things online that you've kept far from their sight. Like information. Guess what? You'll still be alright. We'll convert your children. Yes, we will.
Okay, that's enough. So you haven't seen that?
No.
Okay. I just...
Maybe that's why they try to get rid of libs of TikTok, because a lot of people don't see this stuff. It's done in the open, but also in the shadows.
Mr. Randy from Africa, I have yet to see a problem with this video. Oh my God, they're going to make your children tolerate other people and the fact that they live differently, and they're going to convert your children to make them less hateful. Sounds pretty based in my eyes. So
Well, I mean, I'd like to talk to your kids about Christianity because I'm going to convert them.
Mm-hmm.
See,
Yeah.
that's why I
Are
want
you
to
agreeing
take
that
a
that's a
Bible to the class.
you're agreeing that indoctrinating children is wrong, even if it's under the guise of
Yes,
Christianity?
yes, but here's the problem in your country. If I went
Uh huh.
to the classroom and I say to your kids that Jesus Christ is the Lord and He died for their sins and they must accept Him as their Savior if they'd like to avoid eternal damnation, then you would have me arrested. I'd be in violation of not only federal guidelines, but people like the ACLU and related, communist lawyers organizations would sue me out of existence. Whereas if somebody goes to your school and I don't know has a drag queen story hour, where people who literally do things that up until 5 minutes ago were illegal in most Western countries, recruit people into their ideology, and you would say to me, well, that's just tolerance, but it's not. It's recruitment. It's no different, literally no different
Hey,
than if I went into a school and taught my religion. It's just a different religion and a much more evil.
listen to me. I'm for having some sort of religious thing in school. Like, if you want to have a whole Christian club where all the Christian kids get together and be Christians, that's fine. Then I would also have no problem with some sort of LGBTQ club or some Buddhist club or whatever in these schools, because community is important for sure. But my thing is that no matter what, adults in children's lives are going to try to convert their children to specific ideologies. So saying that the ideology of the LGBTQ community is evil is a little ridiculous, considering the fact that, they're just people who want to be gay, and Christians kind of hate them for it, at least here in America.
Well, the thing is, you could say that about almost anything, right? You could, for example, as many of these alphabet people do, you could, for example, say that people who want to have sexual relations with kids are just minor attracted people, and
Not the same
Christians are
thing.
wrong for hating them about that. But that's something that I think we can all hopefully agree is completely wrong and evil.
Right.
And so there are standards in society, but the problem is in your society at the moment, there is a standard whereby only one religion is allowed in schools, and that religion is the religion of liberalism and more broadly, really, Satanism, whereby, for example, the evolution theory is taught in your schools as a fact. These people are brought in because Drag Queen Story Hour, for example, isn't an after school club. This happens in your basically schools for little kids. These are kids that are 6, 7 years old. That the teacher says, listen, kids, today we're going to go to this place and we're going to watch this grown man perform a sexual dance. And we are going to talk to this grown man
Uh-huh.
about your sexual relations. And the left in America sees no problem with this. And if people try and ban it, they are called anti-gay, and they are demagogued as being hateful. But really, if we can all agree that you probably shouldn't have sexual relations with children, then this should be a logical extension of that. Because if you could say the same thing about almost anything. For example, if you said we took the kids to the strip club to see the strippers so they can be more tolerant of them, you would perhaps see a problem with it, although nowadays maybe you wouldn't see a problem with that either. But I think that there definitely is a problem with it. And the problem that a lot of religious people have is that in the Christian faith, it's seen as a grave sin to sexualize children. Children are to be innocent and are to be protected. Men are charged with the protection of society. And so, if you hold the Christian worldview, then obviously it is completely abhorrent to you that your child would be taken to a place where somebody who is literally a man that dresses in burlesque, which is basically a man that dresses in a very sexual way, would try and talk to them about sex, and perform weird sexual acts in front of them.
Hey,
That is absolutely abhorrent to a Christian.
Hey, I'm gonna let you respond, and then I've got another video after.
great. So, first of all, don't know where you're getting this idea that children are being taken out of school to go watch a drag queen do some sort of sexual dance.
I'm sure Sam can show you like 50 videos of drag queen story hours because it's
Sure.
become so common.
Also, again, wouldn't have a problem if we had other stuff that had to do with Christian culture, like having a Christian story hour or having a Buddhist story hour, and also trying
why don't we, though?
trying to, because we have a separation of church and state and blah 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 blah.
For the Christian church, but not for the Church of Satan.
Oh no, actually, the Church of Satan doesn't really actually get much done either. So
Okay. Go ahead and finish your point.
also, yeah, the fact that you're tying together pedophiles with the LGBT community is really disgusting and absolutely not at all connected, really. Actually, I would say that the Catholic Church is more connected with pedophilia than the LGBT community. So
That's a heavy thing to say, but
Oh, it sure
okay.
is.
I'm gonna swing in this next video here. It is. Have you heard of Desmond the Amazing?
no,
You haven't heard of Desmond the Amazing?
nope.
All right. Well, we're about to see who Desmond the Amazing. This was on Good Morning America,
Hmm.
which every mother in America watches that godforsaken show every morning. Anyway, here we go.
Cable TV is bad.
And if you haven't heard the name Desmond Napolis, get ready for this trailblazing 11-year-old drag kid who RuPaul is calling the future. His bravery is inspiring so many. We're going to talk to him in just a moment, but first, let's take a look at his amazing story.
I am Desmond. I'm 11 years old, and I like pizza, trains, and drinking root beer since it's caffeine free. I also do drag, and I love to put on makeup, dresses, and wigs, and of course, jewelry if necessary. My full drag name is Desmond is Amazing. I feel very happy to have a mom that accepts me.
It really touches me deeply that there are other children out there that he's reaching and they're listening to him and he's influencing them to be themselves.
I'm very proud of him. I'm proud that he's found his path so early.
My greatest joy in this is just seeing Desmond happy.
I love doing drag because it makes me feel amazing.
I don't know how much I can show of this, but
Hyper? Yeah, me too. They don't like when I drink caffeine either. But Desmond, you're one of the youngest and first drag.
I want to this.
Hello, Desmond. How are you?
Okay. Is that enough? That's enough. I think that's enough.
Well, I saw nothing sexual yet, so haven't really proved your point with that video, I guess. Not to me, at least.
Okay. Randy from Africa. What do you think? Have you heard of Desmond the Amazing over there in Africa?
I have unfortunately been cursed with hearing of him. Although, to be honest, I wish I didn't know. I think the more that one sees these things, the more it mars one's soul. Because it's just such a terrible thing. I mean, that child is more than just being abused.
No.
He's being abused in public, and people literally aren't able to do anything about that because he's being abused with the consent of the government.
How is he being abused? Tell me how he's being abused, Randy. Tell me how. How is that abuse?
First of all, as far as I know, that child it is being told that he's a gender that he's not.
No.
Am I correct in saying that he's transgender, Sam? Or is he
he is not
is
transgender.
He just supposedly
He does drag.
Big difference.
Drag. So he dresses as a gender.
And he has been to drag bars, and there's video, and I can show you the video of that too. But there's been video of him collecting dollar bills for dancing in front of a bunch of gay guys. So
yeah, that's shocking. But I mean, that child is a boy, not a girl. Right? He shouldn't be dressing as a girl because he isn't a girl. And second of all, and I think this is the most important thing, is no child, whatever gender, even if that child was dressed as a boy, a child dancing in front of grown men and having them give him dollar bills, which, if I remember the video correctly, they literally put it in like the top of his pants, and throwing dollar bills at him. That's shocking, and I mean, that's done in public with perhaps not the consent of the people, but certainly without intervention from any of the authorities.
I've yet to hear how this is abuse.
The 3-letter agencies in your country are more likely to investigate somebody for going to church or buying an AR-15 than they are to investigate those people for what they do with that child. And that's an unfortunate truth, but you
think that
still, I don't think that should be happening.
They're going to search you and arrest you if you were going to church.
No, I think that if you happen to go to the wrong church or say the wrong thing, or I don't know, happen to be at a certain a certain place in Washington D.C. at a certain time, you would be in a certain holding cell or something. I don't want to say the place because, we're on YouTube and I'm not sure exactly how strict the censorship is. But I think we all know what place in Washington D.C. we are talking about and what time that one might perhaps steal Nancy Pelosi's lectern and then be thrown in jail for years on end. Whereas one might perhaps have one's child do sexual dances in front of grown men and escape investigation completely.
Still, again, have yet to hear an example of how this is abuse.
Again, this goes back to and this is not just the Christian view. This is the Christian view that was held in the West up until about 50 years ago, less even. And this is the view that sexualizing children is a grave sin and honestly a crime that should be dealt with severely. So if you subscribe to that worldview, as
Randy,
everybody up until 5 minutes ago, including the founders of your country, did, then you probably don't think that's cool.
Randy, first of all, haven't seen the video of him dancing in front of men and getting money for it. Sure would love it.
Sure, Sam can show it.
Sure, do that. Second of all, being tolerant of what kind of clothes your kids wants to wear and how they want to express themselves, I don't see that as abuse at all. Like,
does the child
and
want
also
to abuse
no one really cared about trans peoples or cross-dressers really at all until very recently here in America. They were kind of just like quiet sub-underground that everyone kind of just like laughingly mocked and then brushed off until very recently when they started fighting for their rights.
Okay, so
in other words, when they started trying to be accepted by society despite the grave immorality that they are committing.
They're not. Don't see how it's immoral. I don't see how dressing as a different gender makes that immoral at all.
Okay, so
well, when I was a little child, I thought a lot of things. I mean, for example, I thought that I was a superhero, but it turns out I'm not really Superman. I'm just a normal person. And if my parents had indulged that delusion, perhaps I might have actually been the Man of Steel and been Superman. But realistically, I don't think that's the case. I think my parents did the right thing by explaining to me that I am in fact not capable of flight or of going above the Earth's atmosphere to recharge from the sun.
False
and so I think that was a very rational thing for them to do.
Randy, that's a false equivalency. what
It's
you're
an
saying
exact
is
equivalent.
no. Let me tell you why it's wrong. Because the problem is that you're right. You can't, with no capabilities of yourself, can go fly out of the atmosphere and recharge yourself with the sun. But what you can do is put on a dress and identify yourself as a woman, and that's possible. You can do that. That is possible.
You can also put on a Superman suit and identify yourself as Superman, but you'll be no more Superman than that child will ever be a woman.
Oh, no, if you wanted to dress up as Superman and say that you're Superman, I'll call you Superman. I don't see a problem
You
with that.
might, but I still wouldn't be Superman, just like that child still wouldn't be a girl.
Oh,
and this
except for the
exactly
fact
the point
that you're trying to tie together sex and
people
gender.
make about this.
Because
they are the same thing, and when
they're
you
not.
debate
They're
left-wing people,
They're
they
not.
try and separate them, but then they also want to put them together. So this is we're not going to get anywhere on this issue because
you
can look
refuse to
at
acknowledge the
any
fact that
debate
there's a
that's
difference
had on
between
this
sex and
issue.
gender.
Hey, hold up. We'll talk about sex and gender, but first I want to show you this video here of Desmond the Amazing dancing and getting money from a gay club in Brooklyn. Okay, and so that is actually on his YouTube channel.
Yeah, good for them.
So you're cool with that?
This is horrifying.
Hey, also, can I just point out, regardless of how immoral you think what he's doing is, this is one kid out of thousands of trans kids who actually would probably never do something like that, who probably just want to kind of live a normal life where they get a dress as a different gender and be identified as one.
So let me ask
and
you
then
this. Is this
just to not be bullied and harassed by people like you guys.
We're not bullying or harassing.
Oh, no, you're just telling them that the way they're living their life is completely immoral and wrong when it's not.
It's objectively
They should
immoral.
feel shame for who they are, right? It's objectively immoral. Let's talk
Well,
about the
that
objectivity
poor
and
child
morality.
shouldn't feel shame.
Oh,
like,
no,
what
you're right. They
can
shouldn't.
that child do about it? He's a child. He should feel no shame. But every single American should feel shame for what's happening there. In fact, our entire species should feel shame
I
that
agree.
we would allow something
but
like
not
that,
about that.
to happen to a child.
I think we should feel shame for a lot of things.
That
but not
child, that child has no agency. It's a small child. That poor child is the victim of severe sexual abuse.
No, it's
It's the rest of us who should feel ashamed, and the people who abuse him who should be punished for doing so.
Here, I've got one more quick little clip here too. This is the last one of Desmond, and then we're done on Desmond. But yeah, I do agree that this is pretty sad. Here. This is
this one kid.
Well,
that you're using to represent the entirety of trans culture.
I mean, if this is not happening with just one kid.
Oh, you're only presenting one kid.
Well, this is the one that's thrown all over YouTube. So, here we go.
What has this world come to? It's come to a world where drag kids actually exist.
And people do ketamine on a couch. And
At least that kid's educated, about what the world's really like. Just saying. Do you think that kid has seen his parents do ketamine on a couch? Or do you think they're referencing something that someone else said and then they're joking about it because it's ridiculous?
No, I think after a kid does that.
How about we just make
like
a
that?
whole lot of assumptions about what this kid's life is actually like?
You're not a dumb guy.
I know. Thank you.
You're not a dumb guy. I know you can kind of put things together here. Is that
Yeah,
you think that
I like to not assume things about people, Sam.
Do you don't think that this kid's doing ketamine with drag queens?
No, I don't think that kid is doing ketamine with drag queens. I know. It's almost like that's an assumption, and I don't do that.
And where did he learn? Where do you think he was taught that you snort ketamine?
He just said snorting ketamine off a couch. Like he just said it. And again, it's very possible not to make assumptions, but it's very possible that someone like you said that all these people do are snorting ketamine and blah, 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 blah. And they're mocking people like that.
So do you think that this is good?
What do you mean good?
Like this is something that's being uplifted in America?
Being trans?
No. I mean like children that are doing drag and going out and doing these kind of like dressing up.
I think children should be allowed to do drag if they want to, yeah.
But do you think it's a good thing this is happening? That there should be more kids that do drag?
Well, I would just say that let's say the culture in America should absolutely be more tolerant of kids who would like to do drag. How about that? And I think that would be good.
Question. I have a question for Josh.
Sure, Randy. What's up?
Do you think that a child is capable of consenting to do something like drag? Because the argument that a lot of people on, say, Sam's side would make is that a child, the reason that you can't do that with a child is because a child can't consent to it. In other words, the child has no agency, and it's the parents who make the decision.
An amount of agency.
So you do believe they have agency. You see the problem that a lot of Christian people have with that argument is that once you say that children have agency, you really have no logical grounds for denying pedophiles their right.
How?
Because you see pedophiles, or as your media would prefer to call them, minor attracted people.
Oh my God! Again,
really,
false equivalency here, Randy.
Let me just finish.
All right, finish. Go ahead, please.
Okay. So the main argument against minor attracted people and denying them their rights to have weird relations with children is that children cannot consent. However, if children have agency and they can consent, then on what grounds can you deny somebody their right to a relationship with a child? I see no logical grounds that you can deny it on. You may perhaps, as I do, say on moral grounds that one should not do it, but objectively, if a child can consent to sex, then pedophiles aren't doing something wrong. But if you don't grant that premise and you realize that children aren't capable of consent, which is the Western worldview that has been held for quite a while, then you obviously have a very good argument against pedophiles, because they don't have consensual sex with children. They rape children who are not capable of consenting and scar them for life. And this is the argument against them, and this is why we should punish them. So if you have now granted the premise that children can give consent, how would you argue against, let's say that a minor attracted person came on here and said to you, Josh, I want the right to have sex with kids. How are you going to tell that person that they aren't allowed to have sex with kids if the kids can consent?
Here's my problem with your ridiculous analogy
of sexuality.
Randy, here's my problem. You're conflating agency and sexual consent and all of that. Like, agency and consent are not just like these huge things that's either a binary yes or no nonsense for children. Like, children should have the right of like their own body or whatever, and they should be able to do what they want with their own body, and they have the agency to do that. But when it comes to hold on. My thing, so they can, but also that comes to, if someone touches them in a way that they don't want to be touched, then they absolutely have the agency to tell them to back right off. Aunt Jemima, who pinches your cheeks. But what if they like being touched?
What if they like being touched? Because that's what most minor attracted people tell you. If you go and read up on it, you'll see that they'll often use that as an excuse. And we'll say, well, it doesn't matter whether the child likes it or not. You're raping that child. The child isn't capable of consent. But if the child is capable of consent, then that argument holds no water against them.
There is a big difference between having sex with a child and a child wearing a dress. Big difference.
Because you see, I don't think there's such a big difference, and in a court of law, there probably wouldn't be either. So we have just taken a major step towards. We have just taken a major step towards legalizing pedophilia. Because if we state, and especially if this were to happen in a court case, which I think it will happen one of these days if it hasn't happened already in the US, if we were to state in a court case that a child is in any way capable of consenting to sexual behavior, like, I don't know, dressing in sexually suggestive clothes of the opposite sex and performing sexual dance routines in front of grown men.
Children do this all the time.
We
You know
would,
that, right?
we would have. Yes, in
like,
China, for
cis
example,
children
children get
in
held
America.
as sex slaves who
No,
escaped
no,
from
no, no,
North
no.
Korea, but
Not what I'm talking
that doesn't
about.
make it right.
Not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is kids doing sexual things and whatever, and people are not okay with it. Like, kids send nudes to each other all the time before the age of consent. Kids do stupid sexual things all the time. Kids dress in slutty clothing all the time. It happens all the time already. Happened all the time.
Okay, that
50
doesn't
years
make it
ago,
right, though.
made it 100 years ago, because you think sexuality is some sort of like deplorable thing. Like, just dressing in sexy clothes is just, oh, you're a terrible person, aren't you, for the clothes that you wear. How dare you?
No, I think sexualizing children is terrible. Yes, I do think sexualizing children is terrible. I mean, there's a very big difference between, let's say that
I'm with you.
you Josh, like to dress in some sort of women's clothing and do
I got
these
painted
things.
nails.
I would still say that you're wrong in doing so, but you're
Why?
free to do so because you're an adult capable of consent. It's a very different thing when that child does it. A very, very different thing.
But again,
and this is the problem, this is the problem with this, because what is the argument against pedophiles? Is it wrong for you to have sex with a girl, Josh? I don't think you'd say that. I think you'd see that as perfectly fine.
as long as she consents.
And yet, if a grown woman were to, I don't know, do some sexual acts with, say, a 7-year-old boy, we would say that that woman is a pedophile.
That's pretty
Why?
wrong.
What's the difference between you and the 7-year-old boy?
Again, you're trying to make some sort of ridiculous connection between having sex with a child and a child dressing up in drag. Those are not
A very
equated.
logical connection.
They're no, it's not. How do you think that's logical? Those are two different things.
The same goes to the ketamine thing. Do you think that children should be around drugs or even be made aware of them at such a young age?
I think children should
that
absolutely
be an environment
made aware
that
of
children
drugs.
are in?
Yes, they should be educated on the fact that drugs are out there and they're horribly dangerous. So yeah,
I
children
see.
should be educated.
They should be free to make jokes about drugs. That sort of thing should. It's not.
Again,
let me
they do it
ask
all the
you
time.
this.
No one bats an
Let's
eye.
say. I agree with you 100%. It happens all the time, but I'm not asking how often does it happen, because you see, we unfortunately live in the world, and the world is not a very nice place, and so I mean, people get raped all the time, but
I
that
know.
doesn't mean that rapists are justified. People
I
get
agree.
shot all the time, but that doesn't mean you should go
But
around
those
shooting.
things are not children making fun of people who do drugs. Do you see the difference there?
But just hear my question, right?
Okay.
Let's say that somebody is in possession of a narcotic, what you would legally call a scheduled narcotic, like let's say something like meth or ketamine,
Okay.
and they have a child around that. Would that be different than if let's say you're busy passing around, I don't know, a meth pipe, and you invite over somebody that's, let's say, your friend. Let's say you, Josh, invite over your friend, and you guys are going to do meth together.
Okay.
Is that different than if, let's say, your friend who does meth invites over a child to do meth with him? Would you see that as being different? Would you see it being different
Yes,
if
those
a
are two
child is
very
around that
different
than if
situations.
an adult is around that?
Yes, those are two very different situations.
So would you agree that we should protect children from these sorts of things? Like drugs, for example.
Well, I mean, yeah. Drugs, sure. Yeah, probably shouldn't get a dependency on drugs, kids. Don't do drugs, kids. They're kind of bad for you. Shocker, I know.
So if adults do drugs around kids, do you think that's fine, or is that
No, it's probably not morally right.
I see.
But-
It's just the sex thing around kids is fine, but not drugs around kids.
Okay, so
I don't see any of those adults having sex around that kid. Big difference.
I see the kid dressing up. You see, if a woman were dressed like that, you would say she's a burlesque dancer or even a stripper. But if a child is dressed like that, you'll tell me that it's in no way a sexual act. But it is a sexual act, and we can all see it. And there's a reason that these sorts of things are mostly attended by gay men who are attracted to other men, or in this case, little boys.
Again, we're using one kid as an example.
One kid who is exalted by your entire media, your entire country's media.
I never heard of him until now.
Well, that's because you don't watch Good Morning America.
That's because I don't watch Good Morning America. You know who watches cable television? People like moms in their 40s and 50s. Like
voters.
Boomers. Yeah, and voters, which should also stop watching cable television. I agree. Cable television is terrible. But like,
I think we can all agree with Josh on this.
Yes.
But also,
we can
one kid exalted by our media that only boomers watch.
Okay, so let me ask you something. Is there anything that has been exalted by the media that you think is abhorrently evil, wrong, whatever one you want to take?
It depends on what we mean by exalted.
I mean, like brought to the like. Does there anything? I don't know.
Oh, I think
I can name a lot of things.
There's plenty of people.
Mainstream.
I wouldn't say on like cable TV. I would say more on like YouTube or whatever. But there's definitely people in media who have said some real dumb things that definitely have a lot of people, resonate with. That is absolutely wrong and not factual.
Okay,
like pretending
hold up. Everybody is commenting right now about the audio. There's absolutely nothing that I can do about that.
What's wrong with the
sorry.
audio?
It's behind. Like I could stop the stream and restart the stream, and that's about the only thing that I can do. But this happens on YouTube occasionally, and I don't understand why. So,
hey, audience, why don't you be helpful and Google how to fix that while we continue to do the show?
Yeah, just put the audience, the listeners to work. Yeah, and if you're listening on audio, be sure to leave a 5-star review on Spotify and Apple. Anyway, yeah, that's my question is that like what was it that you saw or heard on cable television that you thought was absolutely wrong?
Here's the thing. Again, don't watch cable television or cable television.
Okay, YouTube. Like something that has been exalted.
That systemic racism doesn't exist in America. A lot of right-wing people on YouTube like to fucking say that and believe that.
But do you think that that's on mainstream?
Yes. Because Fox News exists.
Okay, outside of... That's just one news channel, you see?
Uh-huh.
You see what I'm doing there?
Yeah, I'm seeing what you're doing there.
That's
one kid.
That's just one channel, right?
Uh-huh.
So, what other news channel?
I don't watch...
See, but this kid wasn't just on one show, because... The argument that Josh would make against you, Sam, in this would be that, well, it's on Fox News, but that's one, and Fox News isn't even really a conservative network, but at least it has some conservatives on it. Whereas every other news network in your country, like NPR, CNN, NPR, by the way, which you pay for with taxpayer money, are extremely left wing and exalt this behavior all the time.
Except for all those Christian stations on NPR.
Christian stations which receive no funding from the state and which are not in the mainstream at all, and certainly not allowed to operate in the mainstream in your country. Imagine if NPR pushed our religion in the way that they push Satanism when they sexualize little kids. Imagine that NPR pushed our religion this way. Imagine NPR pushed the Christian religion in the way that it pushes abortion. You would have a court case going up to the Supreme Court right now. No, it doesn't.
It does.
It doesn't, and there would be a case in the Supreme Court right now if that happened. And this is the point that one religion. You see, we are debating in essence a religion here. One religion is seen as a problem and is dealt with by persecuting the people who practice it. And the other religion is endorsed in the schools and funded by the government. And the irony is that the people who endorse that religion and fund it the religion of Satanism, would make the argument that there should be a separation of church and state based on a phrase from a letter written by Thomas Jefferson to a Baptist church. The irony is that nowhere in the Constitution will you find separation of church and state. What you will, however, find is that the state should make no law pertaining to the creation of a church. Whereas in America, the state literally runs a church, and that church is basically worshipping Satan.
You're
it's the church of
conflating
aborting
religion
little
and
babies.
You're conflating religion and ideology. They're not the same thing.
It's the church. It's the church of having
They're not
boys
the same
dress as
thing.
burlesque dancers and dance before degenerate gay men in a very sexual fashion. That religion is being
Not a
pushed
religion.
by the state in your country, and Christians are forced to pay taxes to fund that, even though it is against their
Well, they
conscience,
also don't have to
and
pay
it is
taxes for their
obviously a
churches.
grave sin in God's eyes.
Okay, listen. I am aware of the American paradox that is we live in a country that doesn't have some sort of like state religion and has freedom of religion. But
it has a state religion.
also says in God we trust on our dollar bills, and God is mentioned in the Constitution, and blah 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 blah. So I'm
Because
very
your
aware
founders
of the,
believe.
Hey, wait. Let him speak.
I'm aware of the Christian paradox. So here we are in the future after that ridiculous paradox has happened, and so now we're back to culture war, which is it? Do we want freedom of religion and religious expression, or do we want to make Christianity our government religion, which would be ridiculous, and I would hate it. And I think a lot of people would.
Instead we'll have Satanism as our government religion, which is basically what you have now.
And then there's you trying to make ideology a religion.
So that's my next question. So
because it is.
Okay, wait. So we're gonna roll into this. This little bit right here is my next question would be these pride rallies all across the U.S. Right? You have Pride Month. You have you got Coming Out Day. You've got Lesbian Day. You've got Gay Day. You've got Trans Day. You've got Pan Day. You have all of these days that are specifically for
celebrating
the
minorities.
Sure. And so my question to you is the LGBTQAI plus, is that a religion?
No.
Why?
Because they don't worship any god. There's no theistic beliefs in it.
Religion it's worshiping not necessarily God, it's worshiping a god.
Hey, could you look up the definition of religion?
No, not really.
All right, I'll do it.
Okay, you do that.
But yeah,
I will ask
an ideology is not a religion.
Okay, you look up religion.
A religion is
Randi,
an ideology.
African Randi, is LGBTQAI plus a religion, and why?
I don't believe that the LGBTQ crowd by themselves constitute a religion, although it is sometimes pushed with a religious fervor by the media and the government. It isn't in itself a religion. However, it is a key part of a specific religion, a religion that is as old as the Christian religion, and that is the religion of Satanism. And so it is certainly a part of that religion, but by itself it doesn't constitute a religion. It's just, it would be more akin to perhaps a ritual or a form of practice by religion, in the same way that, for example, we as Christians might have certain holidays. For example, we might celebrate Advent. In the same way, the Satanists might celebrate Pride Month. And so it's certainly a belief without evidence. It's certainly a belief in a supernatural, power or system. Or
what is a supernatural power system?
Rather something metaphysical. It's certainly a belief in that. And so, as a result, that it does constitute a religion. It's just different from the Christian religion.
Absolutely
because in the Christian religion, most Christians believe that there is a God, a Trinity, 3 in 1. The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And Satanists often don't actually worship the devil; they worship themselves. because
correct.
they see themselves as God, as being capable of God.
Wow.
And this
Not
is
really.
why this is Satanism, because it is an exaltation of the self. That is the whole reason that, despite all scientific evidence, you will be told that men can be women, that you will be told that men can get pregnant, because it's not about a scientific evidence. But if you have that sort of power over nature, then surely you must be a god. If you have the power to, by the mere whim, by a mere decision that you make, change from being, say, a man to being a pregnant man or to being a woman, then you can exercise a power over nature, at least in your own mind, that is akin to that of a god. And this is what it is all about, because these people try and be God. But one shouldn't stoop to just criticizing their strange religion, however strange it might be. It is just worth pointing out that it is, in fact, a religion, that they believe many things without evidence. They certainly push it with a religious fervor. Most Christians barely manage to work up the courage to go to church on a Sunday. Even some other religions are less devout. Leftists, in contrast, especially you know, the people
African
who
Randy,
are in the media, for example,
1 minute.
are,
You got 1 minute. Sorry to cut you off.
all I would say is they are the most devout proselytizers of their religion that one might ever meet, to the point that they would literally go and intimidate Supreme Court justices in service of their religious ritual of murdering little children.
As they should. My turn?
Yes.
Okay. Again,
Yeah.
not a religion, because definition of religion is the belief in and worship of a superhuman controlling power, especially a personal god or gods. Yeah.
Is that the only definition?
A
or do you wanna
particular
read
system of
the
faith
second
and
part of
worship.
the
No,
definition?
I'm getting there. A particular system of faith and worship. You could probably say, oh, well, then that means all your leftist ideals are a religion. A pursuit of interest into which someone subscribes supreme importance, or ascribes supreme importance, which could be anything, really, anything. You could say that...
Feeling that it's so important that you might burn down a city about it, or go and intimidate the Supreme Court.
I'm not
justice
done,
about
Randy, from Africa, but appreciate your input. I could say that I am starting a religion of chair. Religion of chair. You want to join my religion of chair? We all only have to have faith in the chairs that we sit in, that they will support our fat bodies, fat American bodies. And as long as we have faith that those chairs will support our weight, we will be saved. You could make anything a religion. Anything. If you really wanted to.
Do you think that the LGBTQAI has plus community has cultish undertones to it?
I think Christianity has more cultish undertones than the LGBT.
No, that's not what I
community.
asked you. I didn't ask you about Donald Trump. I didn't ask you about Christianity.
Didn't mention Donald Trump.
I'm aware. I'm asking about the LGBTQAI plus.
I would say that you could make a case about any community of people that there's mild cultish undertones if you really looked hard enough and really wanted to see it.
But do you see it in the LGBTQAI plus community?
Reasonably, no.
You don't see any at all?
Not any that go beyond, like, nothing that really raises a whole lot of red flags, except for maybe like a little bit too much of like SJ.
So what about in like New York and in California, where they have laws that
also, well, go ahead.
They require you to use the correct pronoun, or else you get fined. Are you for something like that?
Well, you could make a case that using or misgendering someone and dead naming them, definitely could be considered hate speech.
Yeah.
And especially if you do it over and over and over, you should probably get fined for being absolutely hateful.
So how does that line up with you being an anarchist?
I love that you keep bringing up the fact that I'm an anarchist every time that there's something that has to be enforced by law. Yeah. It's great. I love it. You know, I've explained this to you multiple times. Multiple times I've said, I say I'm an anarchist because I only get 10% of what I ask for, so I ask for everything. I say I'm an anarchist because I sure would love to live in a world where we don't need a government, but we live in a world where we have one. So I have to talk to you people like a social democrat because no one will come with me on my tirade against the government. So my social democratic blah, blah, blah nonsense that I'm going to spew at you definitely doesn't super, like, always line up with my anarchist beliefs, but it's still the right thing to do considering the fact that we have a government. Now, Satanism, not as old as Christianity. It actually started in the 1960s by someone named Anton LaVey. So, saying that Satanism...
That's just incorrect.
It's absolutely not. The first satanic church ever formed right here on www.history.com, or we could go to probably Britannica.com. We could look at Wikipedia. Very socialist.
Another
website.
organization which is controlled by the left wing.
Did you say Wikipedia is controlled by the left wing?
That's actually true. You can actually look up some very interesting statistics on the bias of Wikipedia.
I'll look into it.
But that's neither here nor there. It's probably not as controlled by the left wing as perhaps organizations like Britannica and really most organizations that are supposed to define these terms.
They're all lying to us. They're all lying to us.
But that's neither here nor there. That's neither here nor there. Noticed how we've gotten to a debate where we are debating two religions against each other. See, supposedly
you pushed it in that direction.
Satanism is not a religion. That they don't really have that religion.
If
They're
anything,
just
it's an
trying to
anti-religion.
exercise their freedom. Yet we're here debating a religion, which should tell you exactly what I said earlier.
No,
that in America there is a state religion
Easy.
that's being pushed. In America, a state religion is being pushed, and that religion is one. Whether you want to call it Satanism or not, you can call it Pastafarianism. It doesn't matter what you call the religion. The fact is, a set of religious beliefs are being pushed, some completely without any semblance of evidence, against science. And that religion says that, for example, it's perfectly normal to murder one's baby, that a man can become pregnant. These are all religious values that are being pushed by the government. And people like, I don't know, Sam, who, for example, Sam, you are a Bible-believing Christian. Sam has to pay taxes to the government in order to fund the pushing of that belief. Now, if I said, Josh, that the government must tax you in order to pay for pushing the Christian faith, that the government must pay for my church and tax you to pay for it,
African.
you wouldn't be very happy about that, would you?
He keeps looking at me all weird, so I have to interrupt because if I don't interrupt you, then
I apologize.
He'll keep looking at me, and it's making me very uncomfortable.
As long as you don't dress it burlesque.
I'll dress however I want to. Okay, first of all.
Wait, let me jump to the comments here.
Sure, don't let me respond.
Well, do you want me to go to the comments so that we can have an audience, or do you want me
to
go
to the comments? No, go to the comments, Sam. Go to the comments.
What on your hierarchy?
Go to the comments.
Okay, now I'm not going to go to the comments.
Okay, don't go to the comments. Can I respond?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So, yeah, first of all, you saying, oh my God, look, now we're debating a religion. Oh my God, this is, see, I'm right. No, dude, you're the one who pushed it in that direction. I'm the one who's been trying to fight against the fact that you're calling this a religion when I stated before, you could call anything a religion if you squint your eyes hard enough. Second of all, what you're calling Satanism is just like tolerant liberalism. Like, we're just like, oh, maybe we shouldn't, like...
We are 100% agreed on that.
Okay, great. I'm glad that we've shored up our definition, and you should probably reword it to that instead of Satanism, because that's a totally different thing.
Well, it's the same thing, but we call it different names.
No, Satanism is an organization that specifically goes against the overreach of Christian organizations and government, and also got really crappy by their owner, but whatever. So... I understand that you may have an issue with these LGBT things, and that's whatever, dude. But, like, again, I don't think the government's funding, like, a whole lot when it comes to pushing the liberal agenda. Not any more than they are than pushing the conservative agenda. Haven't looked at the specific numbers. I'm curious to see what all that's about.
Well, they fund Planned Parenthood, they fund NPR.
Good. They should fund Planned Parenthood, considering the fact that people need abortions. And you saying that, like, oh my God, they're killing babies, really is not a good representation of what they're doing. What they're doing is allowing women to have bodily autonomy and have the right to do with their bodies what they want. Because when it comes to...
Okay. We're going to jump to the comments now.
Just let me finish.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Because when it comes to abortion, it's about, you can't do whatever you want with my body because I have bodily autonomy.
No,
I can't do whatever I want to Sam's body because he has bodily autonomy.
That's
no
demonic.
No matter what he does.
That's demonic and that's evil and...
Oh my God, bodily autonomy is
wicked.
Demonic and evil. Okay, go to the comments.
You're killing a child.
Go to the comments. You're killing everyone around you by screaming about...
They take tweezers and then they squeeze the head and then they pop it and then off.
And you're killing the futures of generations of women.
No, you're killing a child.
And the future of women if you're pro-state forced birth. You're destroying their rights to bodily autonomy. Yeah, let's go to the comments.
Sorry, I was searching 9-month-old baby to show Josh what it looks like. Okay, so let me jump to the top here. Is that Sam? I think something's wrong with the stream. Yes, we've already acknowledged that the audio is behind. That won't happen on every single one of them. Just some of them for some reason. We have Patrick says Christians aren't attacking those who disagree with them. And
sure
tell me you know nothing about Christianity without telling me you know nothing about Christianity. I don't think that was a question. I think that was a jab at Anarcho Josh. It's Patrick C. I think it is. Yep.
Interesting how much we haven't really discussed.
Oh, that was Kyle. Kyle says that.
But okay.
Insomniac says Sam. Skip that one.
Oh, what did it say, Sam?
It said Sam is always right.
Sure.
Insomniac says, how is this abuse? I don't know what it's referring to. If you've got questions, go ahead and throw them. Sam smells like good lawn.
That's not a question either.
That's something I'm going to read out loud, though.
Okay.
100% every time.
Sure.
State forced birth. You got to throw questions, guys. I'm looking for question marks. Here we go. Is that there are no Christian stations on NPR. Yeah.
Very true.
Question marks there. So I said that. And looks like we don't really have any questions. So I'm going to go ahead and close this out of here. Do you have any final thoughts? Go ahead. I will give you guys each. We're getting structure here, ladies and gentlemen.
Right.
We're getting to the... we're getting structure. So I am going to go to my alarm on my phone, and then after that I go to stopwatch. You guys each get 3 minutes for closing.
Randy, would you like to go first?
I think we should just thank Josh for being on here and for having this debate. I think this is a very good thing. First of all, thank you, Sam, for having me on. My people aren't necessarily usually given a platform in Western media. Rather, we are silenced in most cases or demagogued. So thank you for giving an honest platform. Second of all, I think that it's very good that Josh is on here, that is having an honest debate. Josh actually debates the issues instead of just resorting to name calling, and so I think that's a very good thing. While I don't agree with people like Elon Musk on everything, I do agree that free speech is a fundamentally American thing, and that having debate in a public forum is very important because that is the way that we convince our fellow citizens of things. And so I think it's very good that we can have these debates. As much as some of the big tech companies would rather censor it, I do think that it is very good. Even if we disagree, at least we've spoken about it, and we've gotten these points out, and we've even found some points of agreement. which perhaps the mainstream media might not like, but I think we've all agreed tonight that cable TV isn't a great thing. But anyway, all I would say is thank you very much, Sam, and thank you very much, Josh.
Thank you.
Wow, that was really sweet. I wasn't expecting that. Yeah, kudos to you, Randy, and also thank you. And I would say the same to you. Thank you for being civil. Thank you for not resorting to name calling. Happy to have you on the show again. Happy to debate you again. All that. Also, just love everyone. It's not hard. That's what Jesus would want. That's really all I'm fighting for. It's just for people to love each other. And that's it. And, whatever. I'll see you next week, folks.
You still got another.
Oh, I got another minute. Well, back to my Hegelian dialectic talk.
Okay,
so,
yeah, we're not going to do that.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, and all you lovely freaks out there, I hope you enjoyed the program tonight. It was kind of sporadic, and it's all over the place. I can say, honestly, I hope to create a little bit more of orderly programming. It is just raining like crazy in Kansas City, which means that grass is growing like crazy, which means I am cutting the grass like crazy, which means that I am working from sun up to sundown. And so, with that said, if you would like to support the program, I don't know why I'm calling it a program, the show. If you'd like to support the show, go to samdailyshow.locals.com, and you could be a monthly supporter to where we can get it to the point where I'm done cutting lawns.
I want to get paid.
And where Josh, Anarcho Josh, it's going to be a long time before you get paid.
I know.
But, yes, I appreciate African Randy and Anarcho Josh for being here. Tune in tomorrow. Just kidding. If you would like to. I think Mo Rhino is. No, they're not. Tune in next week, Tuesday through Thursday. It's going to be at 7:30. I think I'm going to be pushing the times a little bit later.
We canceled the Monday show. Dang it.
Yes, we have canceled the Monday show. However, if people go to locals, then we could bring back that Monday show and have a Saturday show and a Sunday show. Oh, great. So anyway, be sure to subscribe, like, comment, and
only on the videos that I'm in.
Yeah, only on the videos that Anarcho Josh is in. Anyway, thank you very much.